We are here simply because injustice is here. And we realize that Georgia is now the talking head for the entire nation. Be very clear that this piece of legislation passed not because of voter fraud, but because of voter turnout. Black and brown people came at strong numbers to elect, and we did so, and we let not just the nation know, but the world know that Georgia cannot be discounted. Why in the world would Bishop Reggie Jackson call on Home Depot, call Coca-Cola, call Delta Airlines? Because we understand through the lens and the gauge of history the significance of Delta, the significance of Coca-Cola, and the significance of Home Depot. Home Depot was started in 1978 in Los Angeles, but still they will not say why they moved to Georgia. All of these companies moved to Georgia because of the sacrifice of Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement, who made it amenable for a market to come. And as a consequence, we are the epicenter of commerce for this nation, right in the place where segregation took place. And so right on this soil, we marched to sit at lunch counters. From this soil, we marched and boycotted to, in fact, drink from water fountains. From this soil, we marched to integrate schools and to integrate housing communities. We understand the inconvenience of a boycott, but we also know the fruit of the boycott. And so we are telling Home Depot, it is always the right time to do the right thing. And this is the right thing for Home Depot. One of the first songs that you learned as a child is, if I had a hammer, I'd ring it in the morning. We are ringing the hammer for justice, for democracy, and for free voting. When will we stop? We will not stop until these laws have been changed, until the John Lewis bill has been passed, and every state that is in danger will say, if Georgia can do it, America can do it. We are standing strong because we believe America is incomplete. The roof has not been built because Home Depot has faulty projects and they've got faulty ethics. Let's keep building and let's march on until victory is won and people in Georgia can vote and drink water at the same time.
It's a magnificent Monday, a Monday where miracles happen, a Monday where the movement is alive, a Monday where there is no mourning, but there's great expectation. I am appreciative to bombard your day and to invade your space on this platform in this moment. I wanted to share with you some intricate, intimate details about what is taking place around this Home Depot boycott. I've been bombarded with emails and queries. I've been approached in supermarkets and gas stations. What does it mean? I've had microphones thrown in my face from radio stations to television, and I wanted you to hear from me. This is what I need you to do. I want you to text somebody, tag somebody, tell somebody that they need to jump on this platform right now. Who needs to be on here? Every person who has voted, every person who has had a family member sacrifice for the right to vote, every person who works for a corporate job, every person who wants to see a brighter future, they need to be locked in with me on this night so that we can talk, and while we're not going, but how we're going to still. I won't be here tonight by myself, but two of my comrades and colleagues are going to be with me. First will be one of the generals of this city, an ombudsman of the movement, who has really been holding up the bloodstained banner for a great many years and through several different generations. He is Benjamin Button in reverse. He is timeless. He is ageless. He's like a 57 Chevy. He's a classic and keeps on running. And I'm appreciative to have with us my friend, my hero, and really one of my surrogate mentors, Dr. Timothy McDonald, the esteemed pastor of First Iconium Baptist Church and over Concerned Black Clergy. I also want to introduce to you my brother in arms, Pastor Lee May. He and I grew up in the AME church together. He came down to Atlanta and made the way clear for me to get to New Birth. He was my John the Baptist. He went ahead of me to an AME was coming. And so I'm just appreciative for him. He has given his life to public service, and I'm appreciative that he is a marketplace minister, trafficking in that which is secular and sacred by being a pastor and even a prophet in this age and in this hour. Gentlemen, welcome. We have become the three amigos tonight because we are just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The day they got thrown in the fire, Daniel is nowhere to be found. No. Such as the case of Jackson, who is supposed to be here on today and equipping us for the fire. He is not present. We have given him a pass. His darling wife has kidnapped him for birthday festivities, and so we salute him on this day. I still need to see about 500 more of you jump on right in this moment. You can't do it by yourself, but I need you to please invite somebody. I only want you to invite people who have a Home Depot in their town. I need you to invite people that got a hammer in the garage. I need you to invite people who've been thinking about renovating during this pandemic. Jumping like Dr. McDonald, I want you to give us some historical context about boycotting and this effective model and why it is that we would be doing a boycott in the middle of a pandemic.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bryant, and good to see Reverend Lee here. Yeah, we've been through a few boycotts. I had the privilege of serving on the national staff of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, 1984 to 1990, over the economic arm of SCLC, Operation Breadbasket, which is what Jesse Jackson used to do. So we've been through a number of boycotts. The reason why this one is so important is because in Georgia, and you've already mentioned that we really looked at about 44, 45 states that already have received some notice of voter suppression legislation. And the corporations were just too quiet throughout history, even going all the way back to the Montgomery bus boycott. The faith community and the businesses, they worked together. And when we did the Winn-Dixie boycott here in Georgia, the faith and the business corporations, we worked together. But it appears that now too many of the corporations are in the pockets of politicians. And there's a lot of manipulation going on. So when we needed them to come forward in Georgia to speak out corporations against this voter suppression bill, it was silent. They were silent. And so we started calling them out. And as we called them out, some came to the table and talked with us, Coca-Cola and Delta and Microsoft and Aflac. We had conversations. But there was one who gives the largest employer, single employer in the state of Georgia is Home Depot. Some may ask, why Home Depot? They're the largest state employer in Georgia. They would not call us back. They would not text us. They would not email us. They disrespected the Black church. They disrespected Black pastor. They disrespected the Black faith community. And so through consultations with Bishop Jackson and other faith leaders like yourselves, we decided to target Home Depot, where millions and millions of our dollars are being spent on a weekly basis. So that's why we are here. And we're giving them an opportunity to do the right thing. But we know a little bit about teaching our dollars some sense. If they don't do the right thing, then we have to do what faith and conscience dictate, and that is to withdraw our economic support so that Home Depot will help in assisting us to to make sure that this legislation does not pass in other states. Again, some 44, 45 states across the United States. That's why we're here. That's what brought us here.
That is the litmus test for 43 other states. Pastor May to unpack for us the nuances of this legislation and why it is that we ought to be up in arms about it.
Well, man, thank you for number one hosting this, and yeah, just to follow Dr. McDonald, and you know, I've had the blessing of watching him literally for like 20 years now, fight the good fight, getting in some good trouble, as our late Congressman Lewis told us, and so I'm honored just to be alongside him, you know, in this fight, and you as well. So look, so the reality is, we have been in opposition of Senate Bill 202 here in Georgia. It is a bill that was around voting and elections, and it's a bill that ultimately passed by the Republican-led House and Senate and signed by a Republican governor. I only say that in terms of labeling parties, just to let you know who were the characters in place that passed this. Now, this legislation is a challenge for us because it has the ultimate effect of suppressing the vote of Black and brown people. Now, why do we say that? We say that because if you recall, after the November election and after the January runoff that the whole nation was looking at Georgia, our former president, Donald Trump, just continued to espouse what we believe and know to be true are lies about the election, that it was rigged, that it was insecure, that there was fraud. Now, legal case after legal case has thrown that out. There's been no investigations that led to any kind of report of widespread voting. But that was this legislation, Senate Bill 202, was under the guise of election security. And I put up these fingers right here, quoting, because there's nothing in here, or very little, let me say that, very little in here that has to do with election security. But what it does do is target those means of voting that predominantly Black folk took advantage of in terms of their mode of voting. And what are those areas? Absentee ballots. Many of us voted early. We voted by mail. We voted through dropping off our absentee ballot in an absentee drop box. Well, if you look in this legislation, they completely blow that up. They'll tell you that they codified it in the code because there was nothing in the state statute that called for absentee drop boxes. And they'll tell you that they codified that. That's right. But they also completely reduced it and completely turned that around. And literally the ultimate reality of the changes that they've made where absentee ballots are concerned, literally we have about 300 hours less of voting opportunities because of the changes. Why? Because certain people took advantage of it. And we look at things like a reduction in the opportunity to vote early or by mail as well. They've reduced that. They've reduced the amount of time for any kind of runoff elections from a 9-week period, which you saw in this U.S. Senate race. They've reduced that down to 4 weeks. Why? Because they believe if they reduce the number of opportunities or the number of days or the hours that people can vote, they believe, I'm talking about the people who passed this legislation, they believe it will be in their favor. Why are we mad about this? We're mad because this has the same kind of impact as Jim Crow laws did, when there were poll taxes that had to be paid before you could vote. Has the same effect of literacy tests, where you had to pass some kind of test before you could vote, or voting tests. None of those measures under Jim Crow ever said Black people. It couldn't say Black people because the law said otherwise, but yet it had the effect of reducing and eliminating a large number of Black people who were wanting to take advantage of the vote. And so we believe And that Senate Bill 202 has the same effect as a Jim Crow era law, a poll tax, a voting test, a literacy test as well. And so we're fighting against it. And we have gone, as Rev. McDonald mentioned, we've gone to corporate America to have a conversation, because here's the reality. Many of them have huge budgets where government relations, lobbyists are concerned. They have tremendous impact and sway with our elected officials. And we simply ask them to come alongside and help us with fighting this legislation. And yes, Home Depot decided to completely ignore our request. And so we are asking all the corporations that we're in conversation with. We're saying, hey, there's 4 things that we want to see. 4 things that we want to see, and we want you to come alongside us. Point number 1, to reject Senate Bill 202, to come out publicly and reject that bill, to say you're against it, to say it's bad legislation. Point number 2, because many of these companies are national organizations, national companies, and international. There also legislation going on around the country. The state of Texas, the major voting bill that they're dealing with right now is nearly identical to Senate Bill 202. I read it. It's so much of the same wording in that as well. So we want them to reject other pieces of legislation that has the impact of reducing or eliminating or suppressing the vote. Number 3, we want them to support federal legislation that expands voter access. Doesn't make it harder to vote, but makes it easier to vote. And also federal legislation that will put restrictions in place to stop bills like what you see going on here in Georgia and other places around the country. And finally, there's litigation that's going on against Senate Bill 202 and ultimately in other states if they are successful. We want these corporations to put your money where your mouth is. If you say you're with us, if you say you support us, putting your money where your mouth is saying, help us with this litigation. If it's really bad, let's help those who are fighting against it through the legal system. And if you do that, we believe that you will show yourself to be friendly. And we support those who are friendly to us.
I appreciate that, Dr. May. Right at the edge of the Red Sea, I'm not sure whether it was Miriam or Aaron, but one of them whispered in Moses's ear, where do we go from here? Dr. McDonald, we have seen the press announcements. There's been a flurry of stuff in social media. I want you to really engage our viewers, our listeners, our partners, as it were. How can they participate, whether they live in Michigan, Mississippi, Minnesota, or in Maryland? How can they be a part of this boycott?
Certainly. I want to add one other thing to what Reverend Lee said, and then I'll answer that question. For me, the most egregious part of this legislation, and it is proposed in Texas and in Florida, is the state takeover of local boards of election. Mm-hmm. You may recall that our former president called the Secretary of State, Mr. Rassenberger, and say, find me 11,780 votes. I don't care how you do it, whether it's absentee, whether it's provisional, whether it's by one county. Find me those votes and I will win the state of Georgia. In this SB 202 is a clause that gives the state the right to appoint an overseer of the election, and they can push aside any county election board. If they were able to do that with Fulton County alone, we would have very different results for Georgia. And that would be true not only for the presidential race, it would also be true for the Senate race. That's in the bill. And that's what they're trying to take to 44 other states. And that's what we have to stop because they know they can't win straight out. And with integrity and open elections, they are legislating voter suppression. So to answer your question now, Dr. Bryant, and I need to let them know too, I've known Dr. Bryant a long time. I know his father as well, Bishop. And I remember when, you may remember, in 2000, when they stole the election down in Florida.
Yes, sir.
You and I were there. And we had the largest rally that they had in the state of Florida when we were talking about hanging chads and dangling chads and pregnant chads. We were there. And they stole that election. They're trying to steal all of the future elections. So what are you going to do about that? What are we going to do about that? And it's real simple. It's, one thing that corporations understand is money. And so when you withdraw your economic power, your economic wealth, $2 trillion go through the hands of Black America. 2 trillion with a T go through our hands. And what we're saying is, why are we paying for our own oppression? Why would we pay for our own suppression? We got to stop supporting organizations, corporations, entities that take our dollars for granted and use our dollars to suppress us, to suppress our vote. Because when they suppress your vote, they are suppressing your voice. They are suppressing your ability to participate in this democratic process. So you got to withdraw your economic support. First thing you do is stop buying. We are very aware that we're just in phase 1 right now. Home Depot can come to the table, do the right thing, join in with the full demand that Reverend Lee just mentioned, and we can move on to somebody else who's not doing the right thing. We're in phase 1, but this thing absolutely can be ratcheted up. And we have not gone to direct action yet. We've not gone to confrontation yet. We've not even gone on their property yet. But if they don't do the right thing, we're asking people not only to withdraw, but to organize yourself, particularly with your faith community, community organizations, civil rights organizations, organize protests, which we're doing now in Texas, which we're also assisting in Florida and in Arizona, where they're debating their bills right now, even as we speak. Start organizing. Start meeting with the corporations in your respective states, because I'm telling you, they give donations to these candidates. They give donations to PAC. They do commercials, even political commercials. So Home Depot tells us they're going to remain neutral. They don't get involved in politics. Baloney on that. We're not that stupid. Because just as Delta, they were getting ready to withdraw some of the tax credits from Delta. That's why Delta remained silent during the actual session. We know that these corporations get benefit from these elected officials. They have lobbyists that are over there working in their interests. We got to teach our $2 trillion some sense. And that's why we're asking you to join us and not supporting Home Depot. I'll give a quick example. Our church does care packages, and we've been doing it for a whole year during the pandemic, feeding families. We've been buying boxes to put the care packages in from Home Depot. Well, without even telling my church, the buyers of our supplies that used to buy from Home Depot, we took out care packages this past Saturday. I was so happy to see boxes from Lowe's. Yeah, Lowe's, L-O-W-S. And I didn't ask it, and I put it on video. I was so moved. That's what we need you to do. We need you to teach your dollars some sense. You're going to need some hammers. You're going to need some saws. You're going to need some boards. You're going to need some nails. But you don't need to go to Home Depot to get them. They're not the only place that sells hammers and saws and nails and boards. Teach your dollars some sense. Let's not pay for our own oppression. That's number 1. And we'll ask you to join in as we move forward to phase 2 and phase 3 to join us in some more direct confrontational kinds of actions. But right now we're giving Home Depot the opportunity to do the right thing, and all the other corporations as well, to do the right thing now and make sure that voting is made easier and not harder.
No, I appreciate that. In the press conference and in the press releases there has been some tipping of the hat, Pastor May, about this whole movement being fluid, and that there could be other companies that may find themselves in our line of fire. I want you to unpack that a little bit, and how are we coming up with these companies?
Well, that's a good question. And that word fluid, we're going to give that to Dr. McDonald. That is, we're going to name him Timothy Fluid McDonald, because
particularly for your viewers that are from Georgia, they may remember Winn-Dixie. Winn-Dixie is actually based in Florida, but it was for a period of time, over a decade, the largest food grocery store in the state of Georgia. But we found out that Winn-Dixie was selling products from South Africa, and we were trying to free Nelson Mandela. And so we identified and targeted Winn-Dixie, Dr. Lowry, and SCLC. And when we went to phase 3, Dr. Bryant, we had Mrs. King did civil disobedience, got arrested. Dr. Roberts, pastor of Ebenezer. We had professors who got committed civil disobedience. We had other pastors who committed civil disobedience, other community leaders. We went there every single day with signs to the point where we would block their interests. We haven't got there to Home Depot yet, but we're trying to block, cars coming in, or block the doors, or block the cash register. But I don't see it not happening if they continue down the line that they are going. And so we know that there are other corporations. We are looking at UPS, one of the largest, parcel delivery. They have not done what they need to do. AT&T has not done what it needs to do. The Southern Company has not done what it needs to do. Let's be honest, and my family loves Chick-fil-A, and it's a Christian, quote unquote, not even open on Sunday, but they haven't done what they're supposed to do either. So Home Depot may be the actual target right now, but we're giving them an opportunity to come to the table. Let's address these 4 concerns, 4 demands, and we can move on. And then we'll go to one of the other corporations until we get them to understand this is a national campaign. This is not just about Georgia. 45 states have introduced over 350 pieces of legislation to suppress your vote, my vote, our vote of people of faith. And we need people in other states to understand the implications of this. This presidential race could have gone another whole way if this legislation was already in place in even 15 more states. Joe Biden would not be up there right now because of what we did in Georgia in that Senate race. Many of you got your stimulus check, or you waiting on it. If you made too much money to get one, I pray for you. But the only reason that you got those stimulus checks is because of what we did in Georgia. That's why Georgia is the first state where this legislation in this nation has passed. And they want to use Georgia as a model of how to get this legislation through. Well, we want to create an alternative model. This is what happens to corporations when you don't get involved, when you don't get on the right side, when you don't become public in your opposition to legislation that suppresses the vote. We want you to be involved in legislation that makes it easier to vote, that enhances our ability to vote. And that's why we're dealing with Home Depot right now. And again, we're giving them an opportunity to do the right thing, but we are prepared to take this all the way to phase 6, to put our bodies in the path and to be arrested if need be, to continue to go to our congregates and to suggest to them and to entice them to physically be involved, not only with their dollars, but to physically join us in this protest. It is national and will be national in scope as we move forward. And I'm in a very kind of real sense, kind of glad they started in Georgia. And glad in a sense the legislation passed in Georgia, because we got some elections coming up. And no matter what Governor Kemp says, the reason the All-Star game is not in Georgia is because of Governor Kemp. The
Right.
reason why Will Smith is withdrawing his movie from Georgia is Governor Kemp. And the reason why we're at Home Depot and going back to Home Depot is because of Governor Kemp. Now, he got another whole story, and they don't need to be involved in this. They don't have anything to do with that. That is baloney. That is not true. Home Depot had a lot to do, and these other major corporations did as well. They continue to give monies to the campaigns of these elected officials who vote against your interests and my interests and the interests of Black and brown people. And we've taken that long enough, and it's time to teach our dollars some sense.
And Rev McDonald, let me jump in right there if I could. Let me just kind of knock down this whole misinformation that is being expressed. When we were in our last press conference, the Governor Kemp, tweeted out, I wonder where he gets that from, right? Tweeted out that the liberal Democrats will do whatever it takes to get Democrats elected. And my response at that moment was that is prime example that he just doesn't get it or doesn't care about the truth. See, this doesn't have anything to do with partisan politics for us.
That's right.
Right.
This isn't about Democrats or Republicans. This is about making sure that we protect voter access for anybody, whether you brown, Black, yellow, blue, whether you got a D or R behind your political affiliation, it doesn't matter. And so as long as the governor talks about this being about politics, these corporations have been following along with him. So Home Depot would say we don't get in politics, and other of these corporations will say we don't get involved with politics. Well, number one, this is not our stance in this is not about politics. It's about people, y'all. It's the same fight that our forefathers and foremothers had when they were fighting against Jim Crow. When people were fighting and risked their lives, sacrificed their lives to make sure that there was no barriers to our people being able to vote. That's what they've been doing. They've been putting these barriers in place and acting like it's just partisan politics on our part. And they're trying to align us with the Democrats and all that. The Democrats aren't running this show. This is being led by preachers, by pastors, by faith leaders. Now, anyone can come alongside and be an ally, and they could walk alongside us in this. But I'm saying this to Home Depot. It'd be great if somebody who works for Home Depot, high up, can send this message. This has nothing to do with partisan politics. And if you have a lobbyist on your payroll, you are in politics. If you make a contribution to an elected official at any level, you're in politics. And yes, we expect for you to make your voice heard. And it all starts with us with a conversation. See, the reason why we found ourselves here with Home Depot is, and y'all know how it is, we got disrespected, right? You offer yourself, you offer an olive branch, and you just say, you just ignore me. Now, one of y'all said this before. The best way to ensure a fight with us is to ignore us, and that's not going to happen. And we find ourselves in this place. But Home Depot's not too late. It's not too late to come. Let's have a sit down. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk through our 4 points that we've been communicating and where we really stand. Not where the governor says we stand, not what the governor says who we align with, but talk to us. All right, I'm done.
Let me add one other thing. It's not just the pastor that they're disrespecting. They're disrespecting the Black church.
Oh, yeah.
They're disrespecting the leadership of the Black church. They're disrespecting the parishioners, the congregants in the Black church. This is faith-led, and it was faith leaders who reached out to them and extended to them an olive branch. We remember the Senate race when then candidate Warnock was being attacked because of his preaching, because of his religious philosophy and ideology and theology. And we said, you're not just attacking him because most of us, particularly the three of us who come out of this prophetic tradition, we preach the same thing that he is preaching. So when you're attacking him, you're attacking us, and you're attacking the Black church. Please know that we don't take this personally. I certainly don't take this personally. But when you ignore the Black church, when you ignore Black people and brown people, when you trying to take over, because they're not just trying to take away the vote of Tim McDonald, they're trying to suppress the Black vote. They're trying to suppress the brown vote. They are attacking the Black church and the Black church faith leaders. We're not going to sit idly by and just roll over and take that. There is such a thing as righteous indignation. And I believe that righteous indignation is good right now for America. They need to hear from us, and they need to feel the pressure of our dollars being withdrawn from supporting our own oppression.
No, that's absolutely powerful. Our illustrious Episcopal Supervisor, Dr. Christy Jackson, initiated to us a couple of weeks ago. I want those of you who are listening to use hashtag dump home. I want you to use that in all of your social media platforms, Twitter, on Instagram, Snapchat. Use hashtag dump Home Depot. We're appreciative. I need you all to know who are viewing. We're not in it by ourselves. The National Action Network with Reverend Al Sharpton is now walking alongside of us. The NAACP's Legal Defense Fund.
Did he freeze?
It looks like it. Yeah, I thought it was me. What he's saying is there civil rights
comes back.
Yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead. Till he comes back. Yeah, we have a litany of different organizations that, again, are coming alongside as allies with us in this fight. And so we're not doing this alone. Whether you live in Georgia or Texas, my cousin called me from Houston, Texas today, asking, Lee, what can I do to get involved? My dad is watching as I can see him on right now. He's in Houston, Texas, saying he stands with us, the pastors in Georgia. And so regardless of where you are around the country, you too can support us by withholding, making your dollars make some sense, withholding your dollars from patronizing Home Depot until we can come back to you and say, we've had a good conversation. We've communicated these 4 points, and they've have agreement with them, and we are having a working plan to move forward. But yeah, we're excited to continue this fight and to, as Dr. McDonald said, fight with this righteous indignation, and we're gonna keep this thing moving. Right, McDonald?
Yeah, I just want the viewers to know too. Home Depot has already started their counter campaign. They're offering all kind of sales, all kinds of discounts. You're going to be receiving coupons all over the place. You're going to see advertisements. You're going to see online huge discount, because that's the way they counter a boycott. Don't fall for the okie doke. Don't fall for it. This is not the only place where you can buy. I live less than 2 minutes from a Home Depot. I live 10 minutes from a Lowe's. I will drive the 10 minutes to Lowe's until we get respect from Home Depot. And we're asking you to join it. This is about respect. It's about respecting Black and brown people. It's about respecting our right to vote. It's about respecting our dollars. It's about respecting our rights to stand up and be involved in this democracy. So don't be duped, bamboozled and hoodwinked. Let's do the right thing in our faith.
Yeah.
Let's put some feet to our faith and to our prayers. And let's walk away from Home Depot. Let's drive away from Home Depot. Make that sacrifice to go somewhere else for your own dignity, for your own self-respect, and to teach other corporations in other states that this is going to come down your street if you do the wrong thing. We need faith and corporations working together, not in opposition to
And
each
that's
other.
good.
As we look at this legislation in these other 45 states around the United States, we need your help. We need your support. We need your withdrawal of your dollars from Home Depot. And I guarantee you, with your help and support and withdrawal, they will come to the table. Because if there's one thing that all of us understand, it's
The
called
Benjamins.
M-E-Y, money.
The dollar bill, y'all. The cash rules everything around me. I'm showing my age now, but I don't know if Dr. Bryant has rejoined us or not. But if not, we're going to close out kind of with this real quick. Dr. Bryant, if you're here, just jump back in. But I do want to say that some of you all may be asking, well, why Home Depot? We've targeted those major corporations with headquarters here in Georgia first to help us with this Georgia bill. And as been stated, Home Depot is the largest employer base in Georgia. So it's a natural that we went to them along with other corporations as well. And they have just decided that they didn't want to have a conversation with us. Now, some people may say, well, they're companies, they're corporations. Why are we wanting to get them to get involved in politics? Well, look at it like this. Again, remember I said that all of these corporations have lobbyists. They have government relations teams and all of that. Why do they have those? Because they want the government, whether it's local or state or federal government, they want them to make a law or make a decision that is in their favor, or to stop an adverse action to take place towards their company and or their industry. What are they doing when they're going to the government, asking for some help? They're going to the people. The government is the people, is it not? So when you go to the government through these elected officials and ask for some relief, some help, you're basically asking permission from the people as well. So yes, you're absolutely right. We're asking you, the people. We're standing up saying, we got an issue here. And you've asked us for help over here. We're telling you that we, the people, we need help right now. And yes, it makes sense. It is fair to ask if they have more of an obligation than just their money, their bottom line. They have a public obligation to stand up and speak out when things are happening of this nature. So I see Dr. Bryant is back. He can close us out however he wants to, bro.
Listen, no, I'm grateful. I think Fox News has hacked my line, so I don't know why it keeps dropping.
I saw their latest article about you, bro. I saw their latest article about you, man. That means you're doing something right, bro.
The Bloodstained Banner, we want to give you all an alert. Every Monday, something significant is going to happen in this movement. You want to keep your eyes, your ears, and your hearts open, because this is a spiritual. That you'll pray for this movement. We'll ask that you'll pray for the legislators. Pray for this governor. The heart of the king is in the hands of the Lord. Ask that you'll pray for every person who is on the board of Home Depot, that God will shift. You have no idea how God will turn this around, but we have all confidence in you. I'm appreciative. Again, thank you, pastors, for lending your voice. I know Monday is the Sabbath for preachers, but thank you all for coming out of the cave at Angelo for just one moment, just to pour and to lift up. Do me a favor, please. I need you, even after this is over, share this broadcast so that people will be informed, enlightened, equipped, and empowered to be able to fight the good fight of faith. I'm appreciative. Your pastor loves you. I'm cheering for you. And today we're going to change the world one vote at a time. God bless you. Stay tuned. We got some announcements for you. Thank you, pastors.
Thank you so much.
What's up, New Birth? You know what time it is. It's time for your video announcements. Are you looking to transform your family's legacy, build wealth, and take your business to the next level? Join us weekly for Dr. Bryant's powerful series, Gotta Get My Coins. Also, business owners, save your coins. On Saturday, May 16th, we encourage you to invest your coins in a special sacrificial offering. Join us on Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. for Trillionaire Thursday. Dr. Bryant has invited some of the greatest financial minds in the industry to bring insight to financial literacy, building wealth, investing, and so much more. Students, we have great news. The deadline to apply for the 2021 New Birth Scholarship has been extended to May 1st. Please visit wearenewbirth.org to apply today. Our King's Table provides free groceries every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Just pull up and pop your trunk and tell your friends and your family. Join the virtual book club of the month on Tuesday, April 27th at 6 p.m. for a thought-provoking conversation and a deep dive into Rework by Jason Fried. Please visit wearenewbirth.org for the Zoom link. Also, please visit our Call to Conquer bookstore on Saturday, May 1st for a Mother's Day sale. Honor the women in your life with a beautiful, inspirational gift. Can't make it on Saturday? We encourage you to schedule an in-store shopping experience by appointment. Dial 678-824-1055 or email us at bookstore@newbirth.org. Pull up and pick up communion elements on Saturday, May 1st from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Also, please join us for Worship Communion Sunday, which is May 2nd. Save the date for Mother's Day weekend. We have a full weekend of events, guest speakers, and support planned for you and your family. We will be honoring the women in our lives and supporting one another through love, encouragement, and ministry. Don't miss this special weekend. That's it for your weekend announcements.